Hey guys, it's Beth. As some of you may know, a week ago Friday, I was back home, northeast part of Ohio. I was a convocation keynote speaker for the school district where I attended high school. So picture the 80s, because that's when it was. For those of you who are strong in math, I would like you to maybe be a little less strong right now. But I haven't been back home in about 28 years since the time I graduated. I did go back for a brief reunion, but in terms of going back and seeing a multitude of people, it's been a really long time, literally 28 years. So some of my friends whom I've seen throughout that window of time have seen the growth. That's what we're going to talk about today, the growth over the course of a life. So my friends that I've always known and continue to hang out with over that time period, they've seen me change. They've seen me grow. They know the things that I've been going through, the things I've gone through, and so forth, right? We've been living life together. But other people whom I haven't seen in the entire time that I've been gone, they are still, or were until they saw me a week ago Friday, thinking what they thought about me when I was 15, when I was 17. So I'm pretty sure, fairly certain, that when I walked through the doors of that school, there were going to be people who were going to just see me and think whatever they thought about me in 1987, 88, 89. In fact, some of my friends that I have spoken to the whole time asked me some of the following questions. Do you think they'll still hate you? Are you wearing Kevlar? Do you think that you will still offend people? Right? Pretty fair questions. The girl that I was at 15 is thankfully not the girl that I am today at 46 in a few weeks. So, that is the whole point of life, I would say. The whole point of life is to learn and grow. We also, every single one of us, have periods in our lives when we don't do either of those things, or we have people that we see within our purview who we know are stuck and they're not doing those things. But what's interesting to me, and this is what I absolutely felt while I was back home, is that we know who we are from a very early age. We all know that. We know how we're wired, whatever terminology you want to throw at it. This is who I am. I can't help it. This is how I am. I'm wired this way. I think like this. We all know that from a really early age. I literally, you guys, stood the same spot a week and a half ago where I stood when I was 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. I stayed in one of my very best friend's homes, a cabin on the lake. It was a cabin where in the 80s we did all sorts of teenage things, right? It's where we swam. It's where we rode horses. It's where we drank beers, smoked cigars. I could go on with the list, right, of things that we were not supposed to do, but that's high school. And that's maybe not for everybody, but that's certainly some of the things that we did. So I'm standing in the exact same spot, looking out at the same body of water. I am starting to tear up because I actually am sentimental, and I'm thinking to myself, these are the same 2 feet that I am standing on today as someone in her mid-40s who was the same person I was when I was 12, standing on these same 2 feet are holding me in the same spot, looking at the same tree that's been here for 40 plus years. And the questions that I had a week and a half ago were the same questions I had when I was 6, same questions I had 40 years ago, which were, what am I doing with my life? What's next? What about this and that? I am always the girl who's got questions. I've always had them. I will always ask them. The difference is, I used to shut up about them. The difference is some of the people in my formative years who have thought other things about me than things that I knew to be true, they've said certain things that somehow got in my head on loop, right? This narrative on loop that we all have. So people come at you over the course of your life, and they will start to say things from the standpoint of who they think you are. Well, you're just this way. You just think that. You're so whatever, fill in the blank. The same narrative that gets stuck on loop in your head when you're a kid is oftentimes the same expectation that you fight against, you try to defy for the rest of your life, the rest of your years. The problem is you get stuck in trying to do that because you're really trying to overcome some sort of label and expectation and narrative in your head that's not even true. So you're sort of like arguing a false, right? You're trying to say, well, I will show everybody I'm not this way. Well, if you're not, you're not. So really, what's the end game there? And so to me, one of the biggest compliments that I received a week and a half ago wasn't, hey, good speech. It was instead someone who walked up to me and said, you're so much nicer, so much nicer than you were when we knew you. Or wow, you've really turned into this nice, well-adjusted human being. We were a little worried about you for some years. We know you're strong in your faith, and we remember when you were at the church not seeming so strong in your faith. We remember when you were causing havoc or breaking rules. Okay, to be fair, I still maybe sometimes still do those things, but my intent is very different. So my encouragement to you is that if you are stuck in some sort of label-y, not a word, but narrative, right, in your head, some sort of expectation that somebody else assigned to you, get unstuck. Because it's not true. It's never been true. And if you're making decisions still based on guilt or fear or stuckedness, again, I'm making up words as I go, but if you're making decisions based upon somebody else's expectation of you, just stop. Because it's not who you were created to be, and you know that. So to me, growth is not always becoming some other version of yourself. Growth, to me, is really just an acceptance, recognizing and accepting, a recognition and acceptance of who you've always been. And then you live life according to that, as opposed to according to everything else. So I wanted to share some of that with you because it was a really good experience personally for me. I loved being there. I loved seeing people that I haven't seen in a number of years. And I loved just thinking, yeah, these are my roots. I will always remember them. They will always be a part of me. They helped form who I am today. But I've certainly grown from those times. I think we all need to do that, because for those of us, again, that get stuck back there, it's not 1987 anymore, guys. So recognize it for what it is, and then continue to be who you know you are. So with that said, I'd be really interested. I would love to hear your feedback on this. If you guys want to comment below, and let me know, are you somebody who has grown? I would like to say and think yes. Let me know how. And I'd also love to hear if somebody has said to you, maybe somebody you haven't seen for a long period of time, maybe you went back to a high school reunion and somebody said, wow, I remember when, but now you're this way. Okay, so I would really like to know those things, and here's why. I'm going to file it under research. I'm in the process of writing a book about this. Growth, transformation, living according to who you really are, as opposed to labels and expectations. So the more information you guys can send my way, the more I will use, and I appreciate that in advance. Also, feel free to just reminder, I have a website, bethfisher.com, see if I can help you, and always remember to be who you were created to be. Okay, talk to you guys soon.